Right now this closet has to do a lot of different things, and I think my biggest frustration is that I just don't have enough spaces to put clothes away. I'm looking at these shoes. There's dust all over them. No bueno. One of my notches seems to be, I want to say injured, but broken. Injured would be more human-like. Anyways. It is time for my favorite part of the organization process, which is putting everything back together. It is so hollow in here because it's empty, but we're going to fill it intentionally. So I don't want to rush putting this all back together, which is something that I think is tempting to do because at this point of the process, we're over it. We've been through decluttering, we've been dusting. You know, I just finished dusting even the baseboards in this room. It was gross. I feel gross. There's a lot of moving around and like the exhaustion can settle in. But this is when you need to stay strong. This is when we gotta stay focused on the vision and just kind of take our time with it so that we being me, I don't get ahead of myself. One of the problems with this closet is the fact that there isn't a lot of hanging space. That is one of the reasons why I brought in a clothing rack from IKEA, because I just want a little bit more room to do some hanging. I'm not sure why the sizing of the bars are the way they are. This metal organization closet thing came with my unit. The top one stopped short and then the bottom one is also too short, and in my head I thought, oh, maybe they're meant to go together and someone just separated them. No, they don't fit together, so I'm unsure why like the lengths are so odd, but alas, this is what we're dealing with. I think the clothing rack is gonna slip in really nicely over here. Mind you, did I measure? No, which is not something I recommend, but I'm optimistic nonetheless. And then to add in more folding room, an idea, a concept that I have, even though it's going to eat up a bit of the hanging room, is to add in a mesh shelf closet organizer. This is the one that I got from IKEA. It folds up, and what I think is really unique about this one is it has a spot for 2 drawers, so that's going to be critical. I think having extra shelf space is going to be critical. Even though I'm losing a bit of hanging space, I think the gain here is worth it because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 big shelves and 2 mini ones. We'll see if I have regrets. It's gonna go right here. That looks good. These right here are the drawers. Now my vision for these drawers is I think this is going to be the place where my bodysuits live. Each drawer has so many compartments that I think bodysuits will fit nicely into, because with the bodysuit you can kind of scrunch it up. Whoa, see? Compartments. That was the easiest IKEA build ever. This is what the drawer looks like. I just think this is gonna work out really well. Round 2. Okay. I really like the way that looks there. I think it makes the most sense. I'm not putting it on this side because no matter what I do, I'm never gonna be able to get to the wall with this rack right here. So that's where I think the hanging rack can slip in. Actually, I need to take off these command strips, but then I can have like almost like an L of clothing. Let's see if that works. But I feel like this is the most natural spot for this. I'm actually a little shocked by how perfectly this lines up the 2 racks. It looks like it'll eventually look like one continuous piece, so that's exciting. My idea here then is to make sure all the long pieces, all the long dresses go on this rack because it doesn't have any shelf interruption, and then all tops there, pants there, pants. We'll see, we'll see. I'm really hoping this works out. I'm optimistic. This feels like a really solid start. I feel like full-on jeans might be too heavy here, so I'm gonna swap these out for jean shorts. Here goes my t-shirt section. I gotta admit, I adore this system so far because I can have all my bodysuits in a really visible storage solution, so I can see exactly what it is. Obviously, I'm able to tell the color, but I've even grouped them by similar styles. These two are the same bodysuit, just in a different color. These two are the same bodysuit in just a different color. And then this one is my long sleeve bodysuit drawer. I've got blacks and browns and nudes and more plums. Even though there's some blank spots, I have no doubt that there are some in my laundry that will be going in here too. I've always known about the magic of vacuum sealed bags. I've used them before in my life, but I don't know why I hadn't been using them for my under bed storage. I have these two big bins that house all of my fall and winter pieces. As you can see, they're currently full, but I needed to add a few more things to these bins, so that's where the vacuum seal bags come in handy. If you've never used these before, they're pretty simple and fun in my opinion. They're essentially a giant Ziploc bag that you fill with your clothes, seal up, and then you use your vacuum to suck up all of the air, and this is the most satisfying part of the job. In addition to adding quite a few crew necks to these bins, I was also able to add 2 fall coats, which was a big deal, and I actually think I have room underneath my bed for another one of these bins, so I'm planning to get that next time I'm at Canadian Tire, because being able to store off-season clothes is so helpful for keeping my current space organized. I had to go eat dinner, and when I came back, it was dark outside, so lights are on. I needed to buy a few more wooden hangers because I have a few heavier items, just too much weight for my plastic hangers. And even if I were to consider getting velvet hangers, because those are really slim and they kind of buy you back room because of how skinny they are, I don't want to ruin another hanger because of how heavy a garment is. So I just picked up a pack of 2, 4, 6, 8. I can do math. I picked up a pack of 8 from IKEA, and I only bought 2 of these sleeves that you put on top of it. And it's supposed to help alleviate that whole like shoulder stretching thing. So we'll see if that works. Another hanger purchase I made was from Amazon. I'm very skeptical about whether or not this is going to be helpful, but I'm also optimistic. Oh, do I have to build something? Get ready, it's about to get wild. No. Oh, I do. I'll be back. Finished building both contraptions, and this is a space-saving pant organizer, so each slot you can put 1 pair of pants like I did right here. Then they can collapse, so it takes up a ton of less space, which I think is so genius, especially for dress pants, because they're not something I need to like access every single day. So this is perfect. I feel like a magician. I don't know if I'll need both, but one is definitely helpful. Change of plans. I've decided to use these wooden hangers to hang some of my jeans, not all. Some of them are going to be folded. I think the ones that I use the most often I'll keep in this cupboard still, but some of the other ones that I don't go to as often I'm going to hang, but I'm going to do this new hanging technique. Essentially, you take your pair of jeans and you fold it inward so that the butt flaps are out. You take your hanger, you pull the jean through till I have about 1/3 of the leg left, and fold, and I'm gonna loop in this belt loop, and there you go. I really don't want my pant leg to hit the floor, and I feel like if I just fold it in half, my jeans do sometimes just touch the floor, so it makes vacuuming a bit of a nuisance, but this keeps it off the floor. That's what they look like. I'll keep you guys posted on what I think about this, but see, no touching the floor. Vacuum can happen easily.
Let's go. Whoa, no touchy. No touchy. No touch.
Things are happening in the closet, but I finally want to tackle putting this together. I've got some of my most used jeans here, and now these baskets, I don't know exactly what they're going to be used for, but this for sure is going to be where I keep my belts. I have them in a tiny basket in the basket, baskets in baskets. So I'm thinking if there's any other accessories that aren't obviously jewelry, they're going to go there. Don't know about that. Makeup for sure. Probably more skincare. Storage. Let's put this together. This bottle full of hair oil just dropped and it landed like this, so there's no break. If this would have hit the floor, it would have shattered. Oh my gosh, wow. I still had to come up with the solution of what to do with all of my handbags. I do have this little rack that holds my smaller purses and clutches and crossbodies in my bedroom. So I had the idea to put those onto an IKEA cart that I already had. I previously used it as like a mobile stationary cart, but it fit all the smaller bags beautifully, and then I was able to hang all of my bigger bags in my bedroom. I think this system also allows for a lot more of my bags to be visible to me, because previously I just feel like they were getting lost in the back of my closet, and I wasn't wearing ones that I really love. Say that I am pleased with this closet makeover would be an understatement. I feel so relieved that I did this. I put in the work. As you know, I have been really procrastinating on this project because I knew it would be a lot of work, and that proved to be true, but it was so worth it, because I think your closet is such an important place to not by any means be perfect, but be organized in some sort of logical system so that you actually know what clothes you have and you don't end up buying things that you don't need. It saves you a ton of money in the long term, and also allows you to take care of the clothes that you have so that you're getting the most out of them. When the conversation about clothing shopping comes up, especially I talk a lot about finding gaps in your wardrobe, but how can you find the gaps if you don't know what the wardrobe consists of completely? At the beginning of my decluttering video, I talked about how I had some specific goals for this closet. So let's see if I ended up tackling them. One of my first goals was to have more space for clothing storage. So that involves hanging clothes, but more specifically, places for me to fold clothes and put them away in a folded state. And I think the clothing rack and the organization shelf system from IKEA both accomplished that beautifully without adding excessive stuff into my space. I'm still kind of taken aback how beautifully that clothing rack lined up with my pre-existing clothing rack in the back. Like, they meet so perfectly. It looks like I intentionally did that, but it just miraculously worked out that way. And I really love the fact that there's just more space for me to fold stuff, especially my t-shirts. I hate those little shoulder stretches you can get on pieces of clothing, and I feel like t-shirts are very prone to that when I hang them, so it's such a relief that they're now safely stored away. I wanted that top shelf on my closet to be only for home textiles like bed sheets and towels, and I mostly accomplished that. There's one storage bin that's holding bathing suits and some seasonal hats. I am happy that I freed up one of those bins to be another spot for me to have extra duvet covers. I was also able to maneuver the shelving to get that shelf to run the full length of that wall, so I have a little extra room. I have a lot of bodysuits, and the way I was storing them before was not bueno. Whenever I would have to go hunting for one specific bodysuit that I had in mind, it would result in me just like creating absolute chaos. And then of course you don't fix that chaos, so you end up with piles of bodysuits, which is not a cute look. So I love the fact that in that organizational system, there are those two drawers that have just the perfect amount of compartments for safely rolling up my bodysuits. I just think that's gonna be a serious game changer for me. It's already been like so nice to be organized in that area because I have never had a really good solution for my bodysuit. So huge W. Big goal was to get rid of the clothing pile on my desk, and I definitely accomplished that. It is wonderfully clear of clothes, and it will be staying that way. This wasn't originally on my goal list, but as I started this process, I realized I wanted to get my bags off the wall, mostly because I did need the space, but I needed to find then a new solution for my bags. I think converting my stationery cart into a purse cart was a great move because I have plenty of storage for my stationery to live. That was just adding like an extra bit of space. There's no need for it because I don't film those plan with me regularly anymore. That was mainly why I needed that when I was doing filming. So I'm really glad I found like a second life for that cart. I mentioned in my first video that this closet is the only closet in my apartment, so I don't have like a front entry closet that can be for coats and for cleaning supplies where a vacuum would typically live. But because the stationery cart became a purse cart, it was able to move from that corner of my office, and my vacuum perfectly slipped in there. It's in the same room, but not in with the clothing, which feels right because having like a dirty vacuum, or a vacuum that's meant to gather dirt, isn't necessarily what I want like next to my clothes, and I just think it opens up the space too, makes it look a little less clutter-free, or a little more clutter-free. Ultimately, I wanted to do all this without bringing in too much excess stuff. I really wanted to make use of the things I had, and I wanted to do it at a low cost because I didn't want to invest too much into this space, and I definitely succeeded at that. One, I attribute that to decluttering. I think the decluttering process is so important, and that's why I dedicated a whole video to it, because before you get into the fun piecing everything together aspect of organizing, which I enjoy so much, you have to commit to like minimizing the stuff that you have. And I think there's always opportunity to declutter. As much times as I have decluttered in my life, there's always another round that you can go through. I have no doubts that in the fall, when I go through even those vacuum sealed bags, I'll have more things that I'm able to donate. But as for the things I bought for this project, the big purchases were the 2 IKEA items, one being the IKEA clothing rack for $29.99, closet organizer with the 2 added drawers for $33.97. I spent $8.99 on the IKEA wooden hangers and $2 on those little inserts that helped with the shoulders, and another $29.99 on the Amazon find that allowed me to minimize the space for my dress pants, which was also a huge W for me. I just think it's such a smart way to save space in your closet. And then I'm also throwing in the vacuum storage bags that I got for underneath my bed. Even though I'm technically not using them in the closet, they are helping minimize space in the closet by allowing some of my fall winter wardrobe to be tucked away. I ended up buying that during Prime Days, so I got a bit of a deal on that for around 40 bucks. So that came to a grand total of $144.94 Canadian. So I was able to do this closet makeover for under $150. And I feel really proud of that because I feel like I made use of what I had and was really intentional about those purchases, so that I don't create a situation where I have more organizers than I know what to do with, which is, believe it or not, a problem I've run into before. But ultimately, I think the reason I was able to find so much success with this project all around was because I started with having very specific goals. So if there's a space, big or small, in your place that you want to tackle that's been causing you grief, then I highly recommend before diving in to kind of create those goals. Whether it's right at the beginning before you declutter, or maybe after you declutter and you know exactly what quantity of things you're dealing with, just be sure to do some goal setting before you purchase anything or before you start actually getting into the nitty-gritty of the organization aspect. I've honestly inspired myself though with this project. There's like this wave of clothing piece that has washed over me. There's another project in my apartment that has been causing me some grief over the past couple of years, and I think I gotta commit myself to tackling it, because you want your home to be something that you can operate within and that kind of just works for you, so that you don't have to regularly be spending time like putting things back together. I feel like this is a system that I'm gonna be able to much more easily maintain than ever before, because the problem areas have actually been addressed and not kind of band-aid over. I'd love to know your thoughts on this whole process in the comment section down below. It was really fun to bring you along with me throughout the whole journey, because I don't even think I was expecting the end result to be as good as it ended up being. So it was cool to look back at even the decluttering portion of the video and realize how bad it was at the beginning. I really was living in closet chaos, but it's all good, no longer. Like the video and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon with a new one. Baby.